publisher site. My project's title is Design of a Metronome using the Java platform. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to introduce you to the term of a metronome. As some of you may know, a metronome is an artifact that helps learning musicians keep pace of the established rate at which a musical composition is going to be played. Now I will begin my presentation. In music, tempo is the rate at which a composition is going to be played. This piece of notation specifies to the musician the speed at which he will play the composition at hand. This really resides in the fact that there is a specific mathematical relationship between tempo and time specified by this formula. This formula gives out the amount of seconds between each individual rhythmic beat. However, tempo alone does not make up the whole process. Time signature can significantly modify the amount of time of seconds between each beat. The denominator is the significant coefficient in this calculation. No device projects these changes, no metronomes, no software. For that reason, a metronome application that reacts to these changes has been created using the Java platform. The objective: to design a metronome application that does not only project desired tempo, but also projects the changes caused by the time signature. The hypothesis: if the mathematical relationship between tempo and time is modified, it can give out also the alterations caused by the time signature. This was the formula used for the program. The methodology: first of all, the mathematical formula was adapted. It was adapted for two main reasons: to project changes caused by a time signature and to conform to the specifications of the platform. This is the resulting formula, satisfying both goals. The 1000 was selected as a coefficient because the platform requires milliseconds, and since the formula gives out seconds, it needed to be changed to milliseconds. The number 15 was replaced, the 60 was replaced by the 15 to avoid using decimals in the time signature. Next, the user interface was designed. The goal of the form was to make it as easy as possible to operate and to read. This is the form used for the user interface. The user inputs his desired tempo, his desired time signature, and this is the button that starts and/or stops the metronome application. And finally, the program is created. The programming breaks up in the following: methods that recover the interface values, and methods that assign function to each corresponding part of the code. The results: a metronome application that runs smoothly and accordingly. The metronome has the following properties: it projects desired tempo, it reacts to the time signature's modifications, and it stresses each rhythmic beat audibly, with a different sound marking the beginning of every new cycle. Future work: add graphics to the interface to improve the form's aesthetics, and review the program code to improve speed and performance. These are my references and my acknowledgements. Any questions?
I know that I came a little late. Why do you create this kind of?
Because learning musicians at the beginning don't realize that time signature can ultimately affect the speed at which they're going to play a composition. For that reason, this metronome can assist musicians in learning the relationship between tempo and time signature.
You were trying to do this to make a device.
It's just an application.
Just an application.
But in the future it can be made into a device.
Because I'm a pianist, and when you see many pieces, doesn't give you the time, the tempo, just andante, allegretto. You cannot measure that kind
to my knowledge, I'm not a very musically literate. I study it as a fanatic.
Yeah.
But those notations can be transferred into numbers. For example, an adagio has a range of 72, has a predetermined rate.
Yeah.
So that leaves interpretation to the musician.
But have a range between many tempos. Does not have
A specific tempo. I know what it has happened to me. Yeah, the future work could be like, instead of inputting the number, a text field that says, specify the name of the tempo, and then the form will create a acceptable tempo for the musician to play it.
Yeah, so good.
Any further questions?
Why did you decide to make this computer science stuff on music?
Well, first of all, because computer science gives a person the tools needed to create almost anything, and it ultimately reflects that to study computer science, you also need to know a little bit of everything. In here, I incorporate mathematics and music, thus showing how varied can computer science really be. Any further questions?